Donkey Kong is an arcade game released by Nintendo in 1981, and one of the earliest examples of the platform game. The gameplay focuses on maneuvering the main character across a series of platforms while dodging and jumping over obstacles. In the game, Mario, originally named Mr. Video and then Jumpman, must rescue the damsel in distress named Pauline, originally named Lady, from a giant ape named Donkey Kong. The game is divided into 4 different single-screen stages. Each represents 25 meters of the structure Donkey Kong has climbed, each stage being 25 meters higher than the previous. The final stage occurs at 100 meters. As we know, the Intellivision version was gimped by Coleco. Basically, Coleco wanted to sell the Colecovision consoles, and what better way than to get the exclusive rights to Donkey Kong, the biggest game of the time. They made sure the game was only available as a pack-in with the Colecovision console too. They made a fortune. But wait, Coleco then made really crappy versions for their competitors to make the Colecovision port look amazing. Yep, this is why the Intellivision and the following Atari 2600 ports look so bad. Missing 2 of the 4 stages from the arcade original meant this Atari 2600 port only had 2 screens, and they didn't look that good. Thankfully the gameplay is well, but boy does it sure like to ramp up the difficulty setting. I find the Colecovision port to be rather fiddly in the control department. Getting up and down the ladders can be a right pain in the backside due to the pixel perfect nature of the port. Still, for the hardware, it does look and sound fairly close to the arcade original. Sadly, it only has 3 of the 4 stages. Looking even more advanced than the Colecovision port, this Coleco Adam version also features all 4 stages found in the arcade game, something not many ports can boast about. The Atari 8-bit line of computers saw a very tough port of Donkey Kong. While it resembles the arcade game well enough, it plays a much faster game than we'd expect. In fact, many of the movements of the obstacles are completely bizarre. Being that the Famicom was Nintendo's flagship console, it makes sense that it received a port of Donkey Kong that looked the part. What doesn't make sense is that only 3 of the arcade's 4 stages are present. Why on earth didn't Nintendo add all stages? There are 2 game modes to choose from, being Game A and B. Game A is an easier version, while Game B is more difficult. One loop after Game A also brings you to Game B. Even the Texas Instruments 99 4A computer got a port of Donkey Kong, with some really strange music for when you rescue Pauline at the end of each stage. Not a bad port, but it does lack in animation in some parts. Apple II fans have a pretty horrible port of Donkey Kong by Atari. The thing which makes this so bad are the jump mechanics. You can tell just by looking at the game that they're not right, and whoever produced the jingles must have been tone deaf. Straight away you can see that the Commodore Vic 20 port runs way too fast, making it quite a tough version. MS-DOS owners got the same crappy Atari made port that Apple II owners got. Nothing new to talk about really, apart from having an option to play in black and white or CGA, or full colour as the game calls it. There are 2 official versions of Donkey Kong for the Commodore 64. This one was developed by Arcana Software and distributed by Ocean in the UK only. Graphically, it follows the arcade pretty well. In fact, it follows the arcade better than most ports, even right down to the name entry screen. Playability is also good, and yes, it does contain all 4 stages of the arcade version. This is the first official Commodore 64 port that was actually developed by Atari, and it's pretty bad compared to the UK only release by Arcana Software. While both ports look similar, I'd say this version is worse off in the presentation. The graphics are far wider, making everything look squashed. It's also missing the how high can you climb screen. Sound on the other hand is much closer to the arcade game. This version is said to have all 4 arcade stages, but for some reason I only get 2. That's okay though, since this port plays so slow and unfair, you won't really want to play it much. The MSX port is horrible. It's constantly slowing down then speeding up, which makes the already poor jumping mechanics even harder to judge. Terrible port. I'm sorry, but the ZX Spectrum port developed by Sentinel Software is total f***ing shit. It looks crap, sounds crap, and plays like crap. Why the hell does Mario walk up the ladder so slowly? How on earth could they have thought this was worthwhile? Arcana Software, the developers behind the UK Commodore 64 version, were also behind this excellent Amstrad CPC port. It looks good, plays good, and sounds good. It also features all 4 stages. What more could you want? Now the Atari 7800's rendition of the Donkey Kong theme may sound like a field of farting cows, but that's okay. This port by Atari puts right all that was wrong with the 2600 version. featuring good graphics, excellent gameplay, and 3 of the 4 screens found in the arcade release. These 3 screens will repeat with added difficulty until you run out of lives. In this version, you will get an extra life at 20,000 points. Okay, maybe not a port, but I thought I'd add it just for fun. Donkey Kong for Nintendo's Game & Watch series. Arguably the most famous version of Donkey Kong out there. And let's take a look at all those versions of Donkey Kong running side by side.